welcome to Creative News. I am your creative partner, Amanda Pierge. Today's podcast with Creative Enterprises is about paying people with disabilities below minimum wages. This sounds unfair, illegal, and even exploitive. In some cases, it may be a great opportunity for learning. Today, we will discuss the other side of the debate. We've gathered community partners and caregivers of our clients to come and help make an impact.
I'm Leigh McIntosh. I'm the CEO of Creative Enterprises. We had a client one time that we placed in a job in the community, and he was so excited about being able to work there, and we wanted him to be successful. And after a few months, our staff slowly pulled out of the job, and he was left working there, and he was doing really well. But we got a call from the supervisor one day, and they were thinking about terminating him. When we found out why, it was because he was late from break every day, 5 minutes late. So we sent our staff back in to see what was going on, and what we saw is that at break time, when the break bell rang that break was over, he was supposed to go clock back in on a time clock, and it took him 5 minutes to walk back to that time clock. So he was clocking in 5 minutes late after break. So what we did was, instead of his break being 15 minutes, we bought him a timer and we set his break for 10 minutes. When it would go off, then he started his walk back to the time clock, and he would get there just in time to clock in and not be late, and it saved his job. So it was an easy fix. I thought that it was a creative fix, that our staff came up with. It saved a job, and he was happy.
And now this is a person who is working in a supported work environment.
Yes. So we have a contract with VR, or vocational rehabilitation, to help place people in jobs. Some of them, there are many reasons why they can or may not be successful in a job. Transportation is a huge, huge challenge for people. And so we try to look for jobs in the community very close to where they live. But none of our folks drive. So if they don't have a way to get back and forth to work, they're not going to be able to work. That's going to limit them being able to get any kind of a job. We've had them lose jobs because they didn't have reliable transportation. And when that happens, VR has to basically close their case because they're not able to work. We've had other clients tell us that VR closed their cases. They weren't able to work for various reasons. They just weren't successful on the job. I don't know if that had to do with their productivity, because many employers expect you to reach a certain level of productivity in order to keep you on the job. And if they're unable to do that, if they can't keep up with what other workers have to do, sometimes employers can't keep them. We've had issues where there were safety concerns for people. I've had parents tell me that their family member could work at Publix, and then if someone came in and they saw someone they knew, they would just go home with them, and then we would know, where they were. Those are big concerns because our folks are pretty vulnerable. We had a person who had a seizure. He took the trash to a dumpster on the job site. He had a seizure while he was out there and wasn't found. I don't know how long he was out there, but the family decided when the employer found him, the family decided that it would be better if he not work in the public and come back here where he's watched, and that would not happen, because sometimes they have to go to the hospital when they've had seizures. We had another client that went into the bathroom, and an employee of the company got him to provide a urine sample. And so our person ended up being fired. He didn't know that was wrong to do. We had another person who lost his job because he was walking through and he saw money on the floor. He picked it up. He put it in his pocket. Cameras saw that. And so they terminated him because he didn't turn it in. So, there's so many reasons why people may not be successful. Our feeling is that they need to be able to choose what works for them in their life. And if we take those choices away from them because we say everybody can work and that shuts down everything else, all that does is hurts, a small population.
So one thing that Creative Enterprises does with an individual, like you mentioned, after being placed with an employer, is they kind of do check-ins or touchbacks. Explain that process.
Okay, so there are different kinds of placement. There's just regular placement where we help the person get a job. We take them to the interview. We troubleshoot various things, and then we probably even teach them the job. Then we pull out, and they become the employee of that company. We have something called supported employment where it's more effort. We're trying to help them get into a job. We teach them how to do the job. We stay on the job with them. It may take a lot longer that we're on the job with them. And then we have to follow them. We slowly pull out, but then we always check on them a couple of times a month for the life of the job. And then we have something called customized employment where a person may not be able to do a traditional job, and we have to carve out the pieces of a job that they can do and try to see if we can find a job for them doing that. So if you think about it, let's say if you're stocking shelves, some people, there are all aspects to that job. Well, our clients may be able to do one little component of that. And if we can make that be their job, the other employees may not have to do that part of the job. And so it's still a win-win for people. Our person can be successful. So there's lots of ideas of how you can get people working, and you have to be really creative about it. But there are people who, for whatever reason, are not going to go out and work in a job, and there needs to be options for them too.
Absolutely. They have limitations, and Creative Enterprises provides that supported work environment that is essential to their success.
Yes.
Not only do you have the 14C certificate that allows you to provide the environment for these individuals and for them to work, but also you kind of tailor it to their abilities and needs.
Yes.
And that's wonderful.
And what we do here, the argument is that everyone should earn at least minimum wage. But again, with our folks, our shop average is 15%, a 15% production rate. Again, in most companies, they have to work at a much higher production level. So we're not going to terminate them because their productivity is not high enough. We're working on other issues with them, whatever their disabilities are. But they need to have an option to be able to work, because a lot of them, just what they look at, what is, quote, normal in society, people go out and work. And so they feel like if they are working and they're getting a paycheck, they're like anyone else. And they look forward to that check. They look forward to taking it to the bank. The amount doesn't matter to them. They don't even know the meaning of the money.
So much more.
Yes.
Thank you, Leigh. And again, we are talking about Georgia House Bill 1125, and we are Creative Enterprises, Gwinnett County.
Anyone who would like to tour our program, we're located in Lawrenceville, and we would love to have you come see what we do.
As Leigh said, each person is different, and each level of skill set is different. Therefore, a supported work environment is beneficial to this small population. I am Amanda Pierce, your creative ambassador, and this is Creative News. Thank you for joining us.